Before we start the video, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who patiently was waiting for this review. It's been a while since I've continued Star Trek Picard, and a lot has happened in the past couple of months. So I just want to say thank you all for watching, waiting, and just subscribing, because you guys make me want to make YouTube videos. Also, I'm so excited because I get to finally use this joke.
I've seen everything. I've seen it all.
So, without ado, let's review episode 9 and 10 of Star Trek Picard Season 3. We open episode 9 with Jack looking at the red door, with vines all over the place. Jack then remembers a childhood memory as he states that the song that is played is a memory passed down from Picard to Beverly to finally Jack himself. Jack then talks of the vines purposeful and how he seeks connection. Troy tells Jack that she will open the door for him and they will face it together. But before we can see behind the door, Troy breaks the connection and leaves the room panicking. She rushes to Picard and Beverly, and it is revealed that it is in fact a Borg cube, saying the words, "We are Borg." Picard and Beverly say that Jack has never made any contact with the Borg, and that there were no transceivers or receivers. Beverly then further states that species like the bees or ants, they can communicate without words. Beverly states that the Borg had not been seen in a decade and that this could be a biological evolution. Picard then tries to retort, saying that he only passed on aromatic syndrome onto Jack. However, as stated before, it was established that it was a misdiagnosis and that the Borg must have passed on an organic technological STD from Locutus to Jack. Ew. Troy tells Picard that Jack may be dangerous. Picard then meets with Jack and tells Jack that he passed on a seed to him and that it took a generation to grow. It is a fantastic scene between Patrick Stewart and Ed Speleers, both actors giving absolute the best performance they can give, considering it is really well acted and they act their absolute heart out. It's a wonderful scene and it just engrosses you into the show. Jack mentions that through his travels he has seen bigotry, racism, and maybe if something got them to listen, they could all understand. I'm not saying that's a good idea, but I do think his opinion on how the universe works has been skewed from working in the Outer Rim too long. I'm not saying it's Beverly's fault, I just think maybe living a normal life might have been better for him. Jack takes off but is stopped by two guards. He then uses his powers on the guards and leaves. Beverly tries to stop him, but Jack says that he's going to hand himself over to the Borg, and as soon as he's close enough, he will kill her.
I'll trade myself for answers. And when she's close enough to give them, I'll show her exactly who and what I am.
That is the most real, authentic, hysterical laugh of my entire life, because that is not a plan.
It's barely a concept.
I mean, Jack, come on, dude. You're gonna just stroll in to meet the Borg Queen, then kill her. The good guy meeting the big bad doesn't really pan out well. Jack then is able to sense the location of where he is supposed to meet the Borg. Then he goes to Lightspeed. Picard and Beverly watch as their son heads off, and Beverly mentions that she gave Wesley space and lost him. So she did the opposite with Jack.
So I watched Jack closer. So close I couldn't see what was right in front of me.
Data then comes in and tries to reassure Picard.
You might find that impossible.
I know.
Picard is summoned to Sickbay as Geordi tells him that there's something he needs to see. Meanwhile, Jack heads to the Red Cloud location when the Borg finally arrive. Geordi establishes that Picard actually has had an additional genetic material onto his DNA, and that's why the changelings stole his body. They extracted the genetic parts of the Borg from his original body. Riker then further elaborates that Locutus was a receiver for the Borg, which is why he could still hear the voices of the Borg after assimilation, which makes sense. Back in First Contact, it was established that Picard could still hear the Borg collective. However, within the film, it wasn't established why it was. We could only speculate as to why he could still hear them.
What?
I can hear them.
Captain.
Data.
However, Jack is different from Picard, where Picard, or rather Locutus, was a receiver and spoke on behalf of the Borg. Jack is a transmitter, able to send instructions, and the reason why the changelings stole the body was to weaponize the genetic code. Beverly asks how she could have missed it, but Picard reassures her that the reason why Jack was able to resist the call for so long was because of her. Geordi then further clarifies that it may be a part of him, but he is much more than that bit of genetic code. Picard then tells Shaw they have to go to Earth's Frontier Day. We then transition to Frontier Day, and we see the Enterprise F fly out of space dock, where she is helmed by Admiral Shelby. That is awesome. Elizabeth Dennehy reprises her role as Elizabeth Shelby from the iconic Best of Both Worlds two-parter. Terry, mate, stop. You're making us older fans blush at how awesome the show is. We can only love you so much. She gives a speech about how on this day in the series Enterprise, the first starship made its maiden voyage, which kick-started the Starfleet we know and love.
It's been a long, long...
We get this fantastic shot of the Enterprise F. I love it as we cut back to the Borg cube. Jack transports himself onto the ship. He moves through the ship and it is just as a Borg ship should be. Dark, dreary, yucky. The Borg Queen even says her first line to Jack without mimicking Beverly's voice.
Welcome home, Jack.
Jack, she may have a loving voice, but don't fall for it. That bitch is ice cold. And technically, your second mother. Yes, you can blame your father for being assimilated without protection, but, he should always carry protection when being assimilated. Back on the Titan, the bridge crew watch Shelby's speech as she endorses the new fleet-wide system, and they point out the flaw in the concept.
There it is, right from the mouth of Admiral Elizabeth Shelby.
The irony of her endorsing something so Borg-like.
Happy Frontier Day, everyone.
As Jack continues to move through the ship, the Queen talks to Jack.
My flesh, blood, for all my suffering. You are life.
I don't know what I am.
I have thought of so many names for you. But Generati.
Honest for Latin, I say.
She then tells Jack that his Borg name is Vox, the title of the episode. It also means voice in Latin. I see the Queen has been brushing up on her Latin. As he stares down the Queen, he is scared and afraid at what he's looking at. And while we don't see the Queen's face, we get the back of her body. Jack tries to shoot, but the Queen tells him he can't, as she assimilates him into the Borg collective. And she says the iconic, classic line.
Resistance is futile.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Oh, by the way, the actress who voices the Borg Queen this episode is Alice Krieger, who portrayed the Borg Queen in Star Trek First Contact and returned in Voyager's final episode. Oh, and she's also voiced the character in Star Trek Armada 2 and in Lower Decks. She is the OG Borg Queen. Geordi, Data, and Beverly realize that Borg code has been put into Starfleet's transporter code, and even on the Titans. Thanks to the shady transporter operator back in the first 4 episodes, so that's the endgame of the Borg. They used the DNA of Picard and put it in every ship in the fleet, which is why the Changelings infiltrated Starfleet, which means the crew on each ship is most likely Borg. As the Titan arrives, their systems are cut off, so Picard uses one last Hail Mary and uses the emergency comms to communicate to the fleet and Shelby herself. As he tries to warn them, his connection is cut off as a giant energy spike emerges. The Borg cube activates the signal as it affects 7 of 9 a little. Data then says that the signal only works of young people as it stops past a species' developmental cycle. It's honestly a genius plan by the Borg, and such an amazing long con by them. I mean, having the Changelings infiltrate Starfleet to put Picard's DNA into the transporter system in order to assimilate the crew of each ship in Starfleet is ingenious.
Oh man! I'm still geeking out about it!
Back on the bridge, we get this creepy scene where the crew of the Titan have been assimilated by the Borg. It is genuinely unsettling, leading up to...
We are the Borg.
As Shelby sends out a distress signal, she is shot twice as the communication is lost. If she survived that, then my god, she has amazing luck. Seven, Shaw, Picard, and Riker make their escape as they realize that all the ships have been assimilated and everyone should not be killed since they are being brainwashed. Geordi then tries to head off to save his daughters, however Data tells him that they need a plan to save them. As Shaw, Seven, Picard, and Riker head down the lift, they receive a message from the captain of the USS Excelsior, as they tell them that they have taken the bridge, but they are controlled remotely by the Borg and are blown up. Seven wonders how they were able to communicate to the rest of the fleet, but then Shaw realizes that it is a maintenance channel, and he tells the lift to head to the main deck, as there should be no one there, but there should be a shuttle. Picard alerts those to come to the maintenance deck in order to get off. Picard, you do realize you just told the Borg to go down there, right?
Stupid! You're so stupid!
The Borg then tell Earth and all those watching that Starfleet has now been assimilated by the Borg. As they try to get the door open, they try to discuss what they should do. Worf then comments on the ridiculousness of one shuttle going up against the Borg, but Geordi gets an idea. However, the Borg find out where they are. Told you, Picard.
Uh-oh, retard alert! Retard alert, class!
Hopefully we have enough juice to get us there.
What makes you think there hasn't already been destroyed?
Data, could you try being a little more positive?
I hope we die quickly.
Oh my god, that was hilarious. Even in the face of extinction, Shaw gets hit as Seven checks up on him. Raffi tells Picard to leave as she stays with Seven. As Shaw dies, he calls her 709 and tells her she has the ship.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Look, this scene is great. They both act it pretty damn well. But fuck, man, really? Did he have to go? I hate it. I mean, I love the scene, but damn it, we lost a great character. As the crew leave, the Borg then approach space dock and are ordered to destroy Earth's planetary defenses. The shuttle then arrives at the Fleet Museum as we get to learn what's behind Hangar Bay 12, which was mentioned back in episode 6. And we get a return of a familiar face. The USS Enterprise. Not A, not E, or F. No. It's the Enterprise D. And it is treated with the proper respect it deserves. Now, fans are going to say, how can Geordi rebuild the entire ship? Well, he runs a museum, so it makes sense that he could probably get people to help him. And it is established in episode 5 that drones also repair ships, so it is reasonable to assume Geordi had drones also help him. When Picard asks Geordi how this is possible, he says that because of the Prime Directive, Starfleet retrieved the saucer section on Viridian 3, so that it doesn't disturb the natural course of the planet. Though, to be fair, I think you guys already ruined it by...
Or they might remember that time that someone hot dropped the saucer section of the Enterprise D on a planet.
God, I missed you already, sure.
No. Son of a bitch. Bring those two back on board.
Captain, I'm ready for life signs.
Bring them all on board. We're basically a hotel now. Do you know where your old man was? On that day? He was on that Borg cube, setting the world on fire! I should tell you that I have already contacted Starfleet, and they're on their way. As a former engineer, I just wanted to say what an honor it is to have you on board. Yeah, it's been a weird week. I reinstated you. Oh, and as a courtesy, because of the harrowing ordeal that we all survived together, step outside so the three of you can get your bullshit story straight. You have the courage. 709. Just some dipshit from Chicago.
Geordi mentions that they can't use the Enterprise E as everyone looks at Worf.
That was not my fault.
Okay, now I'm curious what exactly happened to the Enterprise E. It's a cute joke, but I really do want to know now. Worf then asks if the ship can fly, and as Picard says,
Oh yes, she'll fly.
You can actually hear Patrick Stewart's commanding voice come through. It's almost as if the ship has breathed new life into him and the crew. As they enter, we get this amazing light up sequence as we see the Enterprise so surreal that we get the entire crew on an amazing, faithful recreation of the Enterprise D. It's so amazing, and the music so fantastic. Everyone has their amazing reaction to the ship, and Worf is just hilarious.
I preferred the weapon systems on the E. Additional phaser arrays, torpedo...
Worf.
She is perfect, Geordi.
Picard then says,
You know, it wasn't until this moment, reunited with all of you, I realized what I've missed most, the carpet.
I do think, besides the carpet line, it was Patrick Stewart speaking, since I think he realizes that it wasn't until now that he had been fulfilled now that he has his crew back. Picard then tells the computer to reactivate as it recognized Picard as Captain, not Admiral. He then retorts with,
Well, I hereby accept the field demotion.
By the way, the voice of the computer is voiced by none other than the late Major Barrett herself, most likely using her archival voice lines.
We are the crew of the USS Enterprise. But more than that, we're your family.
A fantastic moment for all of them as they all get into their positions. It's such a great moment when the Enterprise lights up and Picard says his other most famous line.
Make it so.
And the ship moves out of space dock and the music absolutely fantastic. Like, Stephen Burton, man, you really outdid yourself this season. As Picard tells Data they are heading to Earth, he does his Picard maneuver, then saying his best version of the line yet.
Engage.
You can just hear in this moment, he is the Picard we remember from TNG, and the Enterprise heads into battle once again to face the Borg.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Before episode 10 even starts, the standard Titan opening forming the Starfleet emblem is now swapped out with this Borg-like opening with the Enterprise D. It is a bit haunting, and I like how it is presented. We actually opened the episode with an original series member, Walter Koenig. He actually portrays President Anton Chekhov of the United Federation of Planets. And it is also a great nod to the late Anton Yelchin, who portrayed Chekhov in the J.J. Abrams movies. While he is warning others about the assimilation of the young, we get this pretty recreation of the original opening to TNG. As we transition to another beautiful shot of the Enterprise, our heroes listen to this message as Anton references his father as the crew of the Enterprise D changes course to Jupiter as they find the Borg signal in the planet. As their crew look at the planet, we see...
Where are they?
Red alert! Red alert! This is not a drill. We have a Riker doing secondary maneuver. I repeat, we have a Riker doing secondary maneuver. Let's see that in instant replay. The crew look at the planet and see the Borg cube inside the gases of Jupiter. They find that Picard and Crusher's son is projecting his voice to take control of the assimilated Starfleet officers. Picard says they need to cut off the connection no matter the cost.
What began over 35 years ago ends tonight. Mr. LaForge, take us in.
I can't.
And we just see how huge the Borg cube is compared to the Enterprise D. Now, I know a lot of people will wonder why is this Borg cube is so big. Personally, I don't mind it, considering during Voyager, they were this huge, hive. They even have this transwarp network. And this is the last Borg cube. Well, there was one in season 1, but But since this cube has the Queen, it would be reasonable to assume that she used what was left of her Borg drones to take whatever material they had left from the destroyed conduit and other cubes to recreate this singular Borg cube. We then cut to the title episode, and it is titled The Last Generation. Now, when asked about this, Terry says that this is a reference to this being the last generation of Borg. Also, it's a neat way to bookend the story. Chapter 1 being the next generation, and Chapter 10 being the last generation.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
The new space dock is being absolutely annihilated by the Armada, but damn, those shields are goddamn strong. However, Seven and a small crew of past 25-year-olds officers take the bridge as Seven uses her gun to teleport the Borg crew to the transporter, locking them in so they cannot get out for the time being. As the crew try to free the Titan, the Enterprise assess the Borg cube, with Deanna stating that Jack is completely consumed by the Borg, and that the signal is inside the cube. The cube lowers its shield as it invites the crew into the cube. Beverly says she will try to find Jack using his human brainwaves, as Picard says that he is going down there.
I need you to lead me to him. You brought him this far. Let me bring him home.
It's so great seeing Picard grow from a man hesitant to accepting the truth of being Jack's father, to bonding with him, trying to help him become a better man, to finally embracing Jack as his son, telling Beverly that he will bring their son home. Riker and Worf join Picard.
You're not going alone.
And I will make it a threesome.
Do you even hear yourself?
Damn it, I love you, Worf and Riker. I mean, that's just an obvious yes. Data offers to come as well, but he is needed on the ship, as Picard hands the bridge to Geordi. We get this one look on Deanna and Riker, very much how Picard and Beverly had back in episode 2. No dialogue, just the actor's facial performance. With Deanna looking like on the verge of tears, Riker gives her a little smile as he heads off. Cutting back to Deanna, closing her eyes, realizing that this may be the last time these two will see each other. A fantastic, small little moment between the two actors, giving a great performance. Picard then turns back to address the crew.
It's been an honor serving with you all.
A nice way of capping off Picard's character with his crew. Being distant with his crew in Season 1 of TNG, and we see the progression of his character over the 7 years on TNG and the 4 movies, and finally this season, as he finally embraces his crew, telling them serving them with them was an honor. The 3 beam on board, as Riker says, with this size of the cube, it should have thousands of drones. It is soon revealed that the organic tissue of some of the Borg drones is being cannibalized to sustain something, which I think we can reasonably assume is the Borg Queen. Beverly informs the 3 that Jack is 1 level below them, as Picard knows exactly where that is. Riker asks how he's able to know it, but given that Picard was assimilated by the Borg, Beverly assumes that a small part of him is still connected to the hive. The 3 split up, with Worf and Riker going to disable the beacon or getting the schematics of the beacon, with Picard heading off to save Jack. And this scene is phenomenal, as Picard says goodbye to both Riker and Worf, with Picard saying to Riker,
"Well, thank you. It means so much to me."
It's great to see Patrick Stewart's performance in this, with Picard nearly on the verge of tears. A wonderful bit of acting from Patrick Stewart. Absolutely wonderful. And with Riker being one of the best bros in the galaxy, replying with,
"You know that I know. Always."
And the look they share. It's not just Jonathan Frakes and Patrick Stewart acting. It's also William T. Riker and Jean-Luc Picard just expressing how they feel. And fantastic. It's great. Then Picard says goodbye to Worf. It is also fantastic with him, barely getting a word in.
"Mr. Worf."
There are two turns of phrase a Klingon never admits to knowing. Defeat and farewell.
A fantastic moment between the three amazing actors. Picard reassures Beverly that she did everything right, with Beverly saying that after he goes through the corridor, he is on his own. As Picard walks on, Beverly has cut out as Picard finds Jack assimilated.
Your biological and technological distinctiveness will contribute to the whole. Your cultures will evolve to serve the future. Peace and prosperity will spread across the galaxy. You will be assimilated. You will exist in a universe without fear.
He tries to talk to Jack, but then the Borg Queen laughs.
Home. He is home.
We see this disgusting, disfigured face as a result of future Janeway in Endgame.
You are home. At last, Locutus has returned to his true family, to his collective, to me.
Back on the Titan, the crew have been alerted that Picard has engaged the Borg with the Enterprise D. It is revealed that the fleet formation is based on a line of sight, so if they are able to be cloaked, they can break off from the fleet. Picard asks what she did to Jack.
What could I do? I have only my words.
We are the future.
And the soft assurances of a mother's.
So yeah, that does mean that Jack has technically 3 strands of DNA. Picard, Crusher, and Locutus and the Borg Queen's DNA that was deep inside Picard.
Me stuck deep inside you.
Ew.
You are not his mother!
Man, Patrick really brought it this season. I really like him in this episode in particular. So, as stated before, the Borg was pretty much destroyed. All that was left was the Queen, as all the voices of the Borg slowly silenced. But Jack's voice rose, calling out to the Queen. Picard offers himself, but the Queen says she has now moved on from assimilation and that the Borg will now evolve. Meanwhile, Worf and Riker have found the terminal to get access to the beacon, as one of the drones wake up. The Borg Queen reveals that she consumed what was left, so that Picard can watch the end of Starfleet. While all of that is going on, we cut back to the Titan as they attack the fleet to buy space dock some time. As Riker and Worf upload the beacon's data, the Borg drone comes online. Picard then puts together that the Queen made a deal with the Changelings to destroy Starfleet together, and that this new Borg will easily, quote, procreate, and they are also designed for annihilation. The assimilated Starfleet members have broken through the transporter door and will eliminate all the unassimilated. So, how do they procreate? Do they like all come together at some point and just have a Borg orgy? A Borgie? Or is it much more clinical? Because being a Borg baby may be really rough. Worf and Riker are attacked by 2 Borg drones, as the Enterprise is being attacked by the cube itself. Worf is hit and asks Riker to grab the sword.
Oh, shit! I had no idea it was that heavy.
Ah, Jesus. Okay, we got one. We got one, everyone. We got one. It is revealed that the hilt of the sword is actually a phaser, as Riker whips it out and takes out the 2 drones. Meanwhile, the Titan is being hammered by the fleet, and Beverly on the Enterprise fires near everything they got at the cube.
A lot's happened in the last 20 years.
Goddamn, that was awesome.
You had to sit there the whole time? A phaser? You didn't use it?
Swords are fun.
Okay, Worf. Yes, swords are fun. The crew get the schematics of the Borg cube, as it is revealed that it is near impossible. But Data has a gut feeling that he can do it.
Your gut? Yes.
It's a great moment to see Data embrace something human.
Here goes nothing.
Wait, what do you mean nothing?
Hang on!
We then get this amazing moment of the Enterprise flying through the cube. Now, I should be mad that it is not as big and bulky like in TNG, but one, Data is in control, so it is most likely his high brain performance and now his human emotions, which is able to make him think outside the box, surpassing what a human or even a computer can do on their own. 2, TNG was held back by its budget at the time, as well as its technology. So I'm pretty sure if they had all of that, they would probably do more elaborate and expensive maneuvers with the ship. And finally, 3. I mean, come on, this is awesome. Why do you have to be a spoil sport?
Why am I sensing enjoyment?
It's a really good moment seeing Data finally get what he has always wanted. Space Dock has now fallen as the shield of the planet is gone, and they target all the major cities. Meanwhile, the Titan's cloak is now disabled by the Borg on the ship, as they are helpless to do anything. Picard tries to get Jack out, but only Jack can choose to leave the collective.
We are the Borg. Resistance is futile.
All seems lost for Earth when the Enterprise makes it to the heart of the cube, and they wrestle with a dilemma. Because the beacon is the heart of the cube, if they fire on the beacon, they would essentially be putting Picard, Riker, Worf, and Jack at risk of dying. But if they wait too long, it's everyone on Earth. Geordi tries to comfort Beverly with tears in her eyes. She agrees. Not only will she be losing Jack, her own son, but she would be losing Picard after only now reconnecting with him. Geordi tells Riker as they try to beam him up.
Belay that order. I can't leave him.
Deanna informs Riker he would only have a minute, at the most, to get out of the cube.
I owe him a lifetime. The least I can spare is a minute. I'll see you soon.
God damn, what a fucking legend. Truly one of the best bros in the galaxy. And of course, it goes without saying, the based Riker.
Was this story based? Yes. Was this story based? Yes, it was.
If you thought this story was based, you're right.
If you thought this one was based, you're right.
Was this story based? Yes.
There was a moment today where I was worried we might actually survive.
Worf is just a great character, and god damn it, Terry, mate, why didn't you just be given Picard from the start? Why? These character interactions are amazing. Picard then reassimilates himself in order to get into the collective to save his son, as he admits that ever since his assimilation, he's been running all his life. But now that he has a son, he has something to go back for.
It's enough to make a grown man cry. And that's okay. You go right ahead, T.
As we get a couple of shots from First Contact, which was a flashback to the best of both worlds, Picard finds Jack in this euphoric state. Imagine feeling so alone, isolated, different your whole life, and you finally get what you've wanted. But the truth is that it isn't real. It's hurting others, and instead of dealing with your problems, you run and hide in the blanket of security. Picard tries to tell him that the collective isn't actually real, but Jack says that this is his birthright. Picard tells Jack that they are the same, and instead of Jack looking and reveling in the collective, he then starts to pay attention to Picard. Picard then says that he found his family in Starfleet, but that there was always a barrier, a boundary, and that the reason he was on that godforsaken vineyard is that he was waiting to die alone. And his words are getting through to Jack as he starts to pay less and less attention to the collective and hearing his father's words.
You are the part of me that I never knew was missing.
Oh, Jesus. I'm getting teary-eyed. All these allergies. I'm getting hay fever from all the dust and flowers and shit. Jack tries to tell Picard that he is now at peace and that this was written before he was even born, as he is then sucked in by the collective and says that this is where he belongs. Meanwhile, Geordi gives the order to fire at the beacon, and LeVar Burton, Gates McFadden really act well in this moment, with them both holding back the tears as Burton delivers his lines. They then destroy the beacon.
Well, my friend, is this good enough?
It is a fine day indeed to die with honor.
Man, I wouldn't mind seeing a Riker and Worf show. These two have really great chemistry. As the Enterprise makes their way through the cube, they try to find the crew on the cube. Meanwhile, back in the collective, as it falls around them, Picard does the only thing a father can do.
Then if you won't leave, I'll stay with you. Till the end.
And just like that, Jack's attention once again goes back to Picard. Picard then touches Jack's heart as we get this amazing moment between the two.
You have changed my life. Forever.
As Picard smiles, he hugs Jack as we get this great shot of the two embracing. And since they are both in the collective together, we flash back to memories in the season as Jack is able to see and feel what Picard feels. And that is able to snap him out of being assimilated. The power of a father's love. Jack helps Picard as Riker gives his supposed final words.
I love you, Zani. We'll be waiting. Me and our boy.
Oh boy. Yeah. Emotions. Fuck. Look, I'm not crying. You are, okay? Ooh, it's almost springtime, that's why. Deanna is then able to feel where Riker is, and Deanna then takes control of the Enterprise as she flies it to their location. The Queen says that Jack was born on the cube and he will die on the cube.
It's done. The time of the Borg is over.
Is it just me, or is this Terry Matalas saying no more Borg stuff? As the Queen tells Jack that he will always be alone, Jack retorts,
No. No, I am not alone.
You could now say he has no strings, and now he's free. And we get this epic Bay-like shot of the Enterprise arriving as they beam all of them up, with the fleet about to destroy Earth and the assimilated crew of the Titan about to take the bridge. The Cube and the Queen explode with the Enterprise escaping. The assimilated Starfleet officers go back to normal. Sydney says she's sorry, and Seven, being compassionate, hugs her. At least from this season, she's compassionate. Meanwhile, on the Enterprise, Beverly and Jack hug as Deanna and Riker kiss, with Data and Geordi and Worf at the helm of the Enterprise. As the Titan shows up on screen with Sydney, Alandra, Seven, and Raffi on screen. We get a little of Voyager's theme, as we get a little funny moment with Worf snoring as he sleeps. Picard, Jack, and Beverly have a group hug as he welcomes Jack to the Enterprise as the music builds up and we cut to black. So that was Star Trek Picard Season 3. A fantastic and... Oh wait, hold on, there's still more. The Enterprise arrives at Earth with the sunset as the Titan joins them, and it is a very beautiful shot, very reminiscent of Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Meanwhile, Riker gives a captain's log as he informs us that the new transporters are able to remove the Borg DNA within the young officers, and they are able to detect any irregularities, such as changelings. Thanks to Admiral Crusher, it is also revealed that the changelings actually kept a lot of the people that they have been impersonating and imprisoned in the event that they need information that the person that they are replicating can only give. Tuvok then debriefs Seven, telling her that the Enterprise crew will be pardoned with her help, as she interrupts Tuvok to tell him that she is resigning, as Tuvok gives her a message before the events of the show even started, and it's from, "Yes, Captain Shaw!" Shaw gives her officer review, as his recommendation was when they return from their objective that she would be promoted to captain. What a legend, as Tuvok denies her resignation. Such an amazing moment with the Voyager music. Back with Raffi, she has made up with her family, and Worf leaks the information about what Raffi has done as a spy. It's a great moment between the two, and Terry should be applauded for making the most unlikable character from season 1 and 2, who treated everyone horribly, to this very likable character by the end of the season. She wasn't my favorite character, but she was a hell of a lot better this season than in season 1 and 2. And yes, in the intervening time between the episode 8 and 9 and 10, I did actually watch season 1 and 2, and they sucked.
I knew it!
Deanna is then in a counseling session with Data, and it seems like this is a regular thing with the two going over schedule, with Deanna thinking of picking a vacation spot. As they leave, Riker's just leaning there, and it's just fucking awesome. We then cut to a year later at the Fleet Museum, with the Enterprise now among the old relics, with Riker, Geordi, and Picard on the bridge.
If ever there was better evidence that the past mattered, it's right here.
But what, guys? Shouldn't we?
Let the past die. Kill it. if you have to.
Shut up, Soylo. These based boomers will kick your ass. It is a little funny because the uniforms they are wearing are the same ones from 1 year ago. So did they not change for a year? The exchange between the three is amazing, and it feels like a fitting goodbye to the Enterprise D.
Shutdown procedure initiated.
I miss that voice.
Me too, kid.
Majel Barrett was an amazing lady that was there for Star Trek in the original series, TNG, and Deep Space Nine. She has been a recurring presence throughout Star Trek until her death. So to hear her voice, her lovely voice again, as the Enterprise D's computer, it was a wonderful and beautiful treat to hear her lovely voice just one more time in a series dedicated to the best of Star Trek.
Take care of her, Geordi.
Yes, sir. After all, she's always taking good care of us.
So that was Star Trek Picard Season 3. A fantastic and more? Okay, more, I guess. Picard and Beverly arrive at Space Dock with Jack in a Starfleet uniform, as they see Jack off to his first posting. The banter between the three is great.
I can't believe this. You're actually nervous.
Please. I've run transport through Tyrellian minefields. I've had phaser fights with Orlex duelists. I am not nervous.
So did I the day of my first posting. I walked a light year in a circle before I mustered the courage to beam aboard. This is all of you, son. And I'm very proud.
Oh man, Picard, keep this up and Jack will forget about you not being in his life for 20 years. Beverly and Picard share a quick look, and yeah, I see it. Sorry, Laris fans. It's been a year and no mention of Laris. Picard traded up. Although, it is the 25th century. Maybe he has both?
Both is good.
Picard then says that Jack never told him what ship he was posted on, to which we see the Titan. But Jack then states that the ship has been rechristened in honor of Picard and the crew of the Enterprise by naming it the USS Enterprise NCC 1701G. This was, in fact, an origin story for the new Enterprise. Look, since this review has taken a while, I have seen people dislike this and preferred it either stayed the Titan or changed it to the USS Picard. But this story is about looking back on the past while also moving forward, respecting what came before, while moving on to newer and better things.
Welcome to the Enterprise, Admiral.
Jack enters the bridge, and man, has he got swagger. Like, he has got a lot of swagger, just like James T. Kirk. Seven and Raffi tell Jack to get out, as Seven tells Sydney to just ignore what he's saying.
I usually do.
Huh. I could see this relationship developing, if we get that Picard spin-off Star Trek Legacy. Jack asks Seven where is he needed.
You'll be stationed here as special counselor to the captain.
I guess you ex-Borg friends have to stick together, hey? Seven is then given the task of giving her first command to the crew as to how she will launch the ship. As everyone eagerly awaits, Jack says,
Writing the opening line to your legacy. So then, what will it be?
But before we hear it, they warp to their first adventure. So that was Star Trek Picard Season 3. A fantastic
I hate
and...
to say it, but I think this is the end of the road.
Son of a bitch!
So, yeah. We now finally catch up with the crew of the Enterprise D at the real Guinan bar. The crew all together like this is great. They all bounce off each other really well, and I love that you can feel their camaraderie. Geordi gives the toast to Data as he tries to tell a familiar joke.
There was a young lady from Deanna,
whose body was shaped like a... Captain to security, come in!
Picard gives one last toast, and it is a bittersweet speech, pretty much sending off the crew. But now that Picard has become so close with the crew, he initiates the card game with the crew, as we cut to all of them playing cards around a table.
Hope you're feeling lucky, Jean-Luc.
You know, well, I've come to believe that the stars have always been in my favor.
As we play out, we get the full Jerry Goldsmith Star Trek The Motion Picture theme play, and it is beautiful as the final shot is all of them playing cards like it ended all the way back in All Good Things. So, that was Star Trek Picard Season 3. A fantastic and motherfucking shit. Okay, let's do this one more time. Back on the newly christened Enterprise G, Jack sets up his new quarters as Q is back. Thank God. It is great that this Q is a bit younger incarnation of the character, since the Q in Season 2 was at the end of his life. So technically, you could say this kinda undoes Picard Season 2 in a little way. Anyway, Q says that the trial for humanity continues, as Picard's trial has ended, but Jack's has only just begun. And this teases a hypothetical Star Trek legacy as we cut to black. We done? We done here? Okay, thank you. So, that was Star Trek Picard Season 3. A fantastic ending, not just to TNG and its movies, but also the Berman era of Trek, arguably considered the golden era of Star Trek. This showed respect and decency to both the new and old cast. No one is out of character, and instead of subverting the show, this takes our characters in different directions through believable situations and reasoning. This is probably the best we will get from modern Trek, since Strange New Worlds is an interpretation, a very vanilla interpretation of Trek, but this embraces what came before while also making something new. I just now hope that we can move on from nostalgia, visit it once in a while, but keep moving forward. In this show, even when it got dark, there was semblance of optimism. Other Trek shows are really drab, dark, and sometimes painfully unfunny. I know some people like Discovery for some reason. I know some people like Lower Decks for some reason. I can even understand people liking Strange New Worlds. But modern Trek, for it being a big television franchise now, or streaming franchise now, it hasn't produced anything memorable on this scale before, since this show has been in theaters and beloved by a lot of fans. So I would rate this show overall no beers required, 0 out of 10 beers. A really well-made series that really shows off the love, respect, and care that Terry tried to treat fans with. I thought maybe this may be my final video on the series, but I don't know. I think I might make one more, an episode ranking, so maybe stay tuned for that. But can I just say, thank you for all watching and even waiting for this video. Everyone that has viewed this video and all the videos I have made is a legend. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm so glad that you could follow me on this journey as we go through my favorite Trek since Enterprise. And it is just amazing to see that, yeah, modern TV shows and movies can still be good. Like, I know a lot of people complain of modern movies and shows, but sometimes you need to give them a shot. I really love this TV show, and I would say it's one of my favorite shows. This season, anyway, is one of my favorite shows ever made. I know that's a very high bar, but as a Star Trek fan, seeing this was nearly everything to me. And it feels like the Next Generation crew finally got their undiscovered country. It is a really great show that shows respect to fans and thanks them for watching. So, like every video, thank you all for watching. And as always, have a good one.